So what is faith? Hebrews 11 verse 1 describes faith as the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things unseen. Essentially, faith is the substance of God's promises that are fulfilled in our lives. One very famous example of God's faithfulness is the life, death, and resurrection of Jesus Christ. It's written in Romans 3 verse 25, whom God set forth as an expiation through faith. It's also written in Acts 22 that Moses and the other prophets foretold this, that they foretold the coming of the Messiah and that he would save the world. John the Baptist is a great example in that he anticipated the coming of Jesus, he made a way for it, he hoped for it, and by having faith in that promise, he was able to prepare others, and eventually that promise was fulfilled. However, we all know that that promise involved a lot of suffering. In Acts 23, it describes that the Messiah must suffer, and then he would proclaim light to both our people and to the Gentiles. What that means is that although Jesus' sacrifice and resurrection ended up being one of the greatest miracles of all time, it did involve a lot of suffering in order to get there. If we want God's promises to be fulfilled in our lives, we have to have faith in that it will happen, and that will involve trial in order for us to grow in character. It's written in Romans 5 verses 3 to 4 that we even boast about our sufferings because suffering produces endurance, and endurance proven character, and proven character hope. So to summarize it all, faith is the substance of the promises that God fulfills in our lives. The ultimate example of God's faithfulness and his willingness to fulfill his promises was his son, Jesus. And although that promise did involve a lot of suffering in the beginning, it ended up being the greatest miracle of all time. Now I know what you're probably thinking. All right, so I know what faith is and how important it is, but where exactly does it come from? In the Bible, it says, have faith, have faith, have faith. But how exactly do we have faith? It's described in Romans 10:17. Thus, faith comes from what is heard, and what is heard from the word of Christ. The fact that faith comes from God's word is yet another reason to spread the word. I feel like it's really important for people to understand this in case they're struggling, in case they're suffering, because we all go through difficult times. I've recently been struggling with this, but just now God allowed me to piece together what he has told me already, and that's why I wanted to share with y'all. I might make a better video with actual artwork and stuff, but I just had to get this out there. If you guys do enjoy videos like this, I'll make them more often. God bless.